Chad Dukes here from the Fukerton.com and WJFK here in D.C. We're on with an exclusive interview with the man that will meet Uriah Faber at WEC 36. We're talking with World Extreme Cage Fighting's Mike Brown. Mike, what's going on, man?
I'm not a lot. Just training, winding things up. I got another week to go, so I'm getting close.
I got to ask you, speaking of training, this was the fight that they had to postpone. What's it like when they come to you and say, look, we're going to have to bump this thing, and it's going to be for a while? Was that very frustrating for you?
It's been really hard, honestly. Now I've trained like 4 months for this fight. I've known about it for about 5 or 6 months. It's been taxing. I was ready to go when they canceled it, and I had trained a hard 8 weeks, which is a long time, and they pushed it back another 8 weeks. So here I am 4 months later. I'm ready to get this over with,
You're training a guy that has great speed in Faber. What have you done to try and counter the fact that you're going into the cage with an opponent that's very quick and very good on the ground? What's been your angle as far as your preparation?
He's a tough, well-rounded fighter, so I'm not doing anything crazy out of the ordinary. I'm getting ready for a well-rounded guy. I'm doing everything. I'm boxing, wrestling, training jiu-jitsu, doing what I always do, and I'm going to try to impose my game on him and not really worry about what he's doing. I'm more worried about what I'm going to do to him.
Mike will be fighting at the World Extreme Cage Fighting's Faber versus Brown, headlining November 5th, the Seminole Hard Rock and Casino. Let me ask you about the promotion that Versus has been doing. But I have noticed a severe drought in coverage and promotion for this fight. Are you satisfied with the amount of promotion that the network has done for your upcoming matchup?
I haven't seen much of it either,
Yeah.
I'm just getting ready to fight. I haven't really paid attention. I would have liked to see more of a push. I'm not certain why that is, why they're not. I know they really promoted the last show a lot, a real lot, so I don't know why the sudden pullback on the reins, but I don't know. I don't know what the story is.
Agreed. And I got to be honest, I'm a big fan of the sport, but I find that it's not just Versus who, does support mixed martial arts and having the WEC on there. I watch ESPN or I log on to, sports blogs and things like that. And it just seems to me that despite the gigantic popularity of your sport, there seems to be some sort of, I don't want to say gag order, but it does seem that it doesn't get a fair shake in the mainstream media. I think it's proven time and time again that it's a safer sport than boxing or even football. I don't understand it. Coming from inside the sport and a guy that does this for a living, why do you think that is with the mainstream media that they seem reluctant to cover MMA?
I don't know why, but I saw it it was the same with boxing. I grew up, being a big sports fan, basketball, football, and baseball, but I was a huge boxing fan. And I always wondered why, ESPN never really talked about what was going on in the boxing world. Only they would maybe talk briefly about, if there was a heavyweight title fight, they might touch briefly on it. That's it. No other fights would they ever talk about, and I'm not certain why. Maybe it's too, I don't know, is it too violent for ESPN? I don't think so, because race car driving is dangerous, football's dangerous, a lot of these sports are dangerous. I'm not certain why I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they're keeping it out, but they are.
It is, and it's just frustrating because I go to the events, I see the ratings on television, and you even have what would be considered a subpar promotion in Elite XC. They get some of the biggest numbers ever before they fold it on television. You got the UFC doing well, and you guys are doing amazing things in the WEC. It seems to me that the ESPN has to have their claws into something before they will promote it, and that's a shame. Do you feel like that the mixed martial arts will be as successful as, say, a baseball or a hockey or a football in 5 to 10 years? Because the growth already has to be very encouraging.
I don't know the numbers, but I would have to think that it's comparable to those sports already. I think it's going to be the biggest sport in the world. I think everybody can relate to it, and it's I'm a fan. I don't understand why. If you're not, I'm not understand why.
Mike Brown will take on Uriah Faber November 5th on the Versus Network. You can check it out, WEC 36. And I got to ask, a lot is made of the fact that the fighters in mixed martial arts do not get paid nearly what boxers do or any other professional athletes, but the pay isn't where it should be in regards to how popular it is. What do you think needs to happen to make sure that you guys get the cast that you have coming to you and being, the training's not cheap. You obviously can sell sponsorships, but you're vastly underpaid. Why do you think that is, and what do you think needs to happen?
I'm not certain why it is. I mean, it's certainly getting popularity on TV, and there's a lot of people watching it. I think it's because it's young, and people are fighting for a cheap amount of money. If people are taking the amount they're offering, then it's going to happen. And until people start saying, no, I'm not fighting for this, then you're not going to see the increase in pay. Some of these top marquee guys are starting to do it, like Ortiz and stuff. You see guys starting to hold out for more money, which is a positive thing, I think, for all the fighters. Forces the promoters to pay more. And I think also it's important to have good competition with amongst the promotions. It kind of hurts Elite XC going down. I'm not with them, but I know it's a lot of fighters that's their job, so that they all lost their job, and now they're going to have to go somewhere else, maybe the UFC or wherever it is, and maybe take less money, whatever it might be, So having the lack of competition is not a good thing.
That's not a good thing. When you see guys like a Kimbo Slice, who allegedly made $500,000 and has lost to Seth Petrozelli, or you see a guy like Brock Lesnar for his first fight was in six figures when he takes on Frank Mir. These are guys that are big names and clearly bring some marketability to the sport, but they haven't paid their dues. They haven't trained like you've trained in mixed martial arts. Does that frustrate you as a fighter? You say, hey, I'm fighting for the title right now. I've done it the right way, and I've been a part of the sport for a while. And these other guys that, because they have a name or because they have some internet buzz, are getting these gigantic paydays. How does that make you feel?
I get mixed feelings. Part of me thinks, this guy hasn't paid his dues. He's not that good. He's nowhere near the top 20 or whatever it might be. Sometimes it annoys me a little bit, but then I think, good for him. If he's selling tickets, he deserves the money. You can't knock a guy like Kimbo Slice. Is he top 20 in the world? Not even close. I don't think. Do people tune in to watch him fight? Yeah, so he does deserve a cut of the pie. I'm excited to see him fight. I know he's not the best, but I'm interested to see what happens. And I guess that's part of the sport. I want to watch it, so I see why others do too.
Did you get a chance, Mike, to watch the Anderson Silva Patrick Cote fight the other night?
I did. I watched the fight. I hear a lot of people talking real bad about it. I was entertained. You can see Anderson was playing real elusive, running around, trying to score here and there. He tried to make his attacks. He wasn't quite landing them when he wanted to.
Yeah.
But the game, man, he's tough. I knew he was going to be a tough fight. You think to be one of these world-class guys that are just going to walk through everybody, and it's not like that, man. So many variables, and there are so many tough guys in the sport. You win one, and, you might lose the next. These guys, it's not easy to keep the winning streak going in this sport. It's crazy. Anderson, they keep trying to push him as the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, but the guy's got 3 or 4 losses. It's not easy to keep a clean record in this.
No, we learned that with Sarah versus GSP, clearly. Speaking of that pound-for-pound, it's interesting you said that the guy that you're taking on in Uriah Faber, some people have called him one of the best pound-for-pound fighters. Then you got people that make the argument for a GSP or a BJ Penn. And then you have Fedor, and Dana White came out and was critical of Fedor because he hasn't fought UFC-quality opponents. Who do you think right now, just in your opinion, is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the mixed martial arts game, and what do you think qualifies somebody for that title?
I think Fedor is pound-for-pound the best fighter in the world.
Wow.
Because he has fought all the best guys in the world at his weight class, and he has the cleanest record. He only lost once, and it was really not even a loss. He got cut, real quick stoppage, and then he rematched the guy and pounded him. It wasn't like, he didn't really get beat. Nobody beat him. Everybody else who's fought world-class guys, has lost. Nobody's a champion without getting, Anderson's lost 3 times. Sure, he's a great fighter, but 3 guys have had a better night than him. Where Fedor's never had that bad night. He never went out and had a poor performance and got beat.
Yeah.
A poor performance for him is going the distance,
That's a great point, man. Do you have any relationship with Uriah? Have you seen him around? We got a chance to talk with him and Carlos Condit a couple weeks back. Seemed like he had a lot of respect for all the fighters that he goes up against. Have you had any interactions with the guy?
I just saw him a week or 2 ago in Vegas. We went out there do some interviews, to try to get us to talk some smack.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. I've run into him a few times. He seems like a great champion, and I think he's done a lot for the weight class, for bringing notoriety to the 145-pounders. He's a tough guy. I think he's one of the best pound-for-pound guys out there. He's one, too. He's only got, 1 blemish on his record, and he's a champ in his weight.
Would it be easier for you if he was the dick and was, talking smack? Would it be easier for you to get into the cage with him, or does that not matter to you?
To me, it doesn't matter. I mean, when I step in there, I'm going to swing with all my might with every shot to try to knock the guy unconscious, if he's my buddy or if he's an enemy. It's not going to change how hard I'm going to swing my hammers,
Very good. Hey, Mike, great stuff, man. Do you have a website or anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, MikeThomasBrown.com. Check it out. Hook me up out there. See me at the after party. We're going to go to Spirits nightclub that night after the fights at the Hard Rock. So if you can make it, come on down. We'll have a good time.
Very cool. We got a lot of people that log on in Florida, so we appreciate it, man. That's Mike Brown. He's taking on Uriah Faber, WEC 36, November 5th. Check it out on the Versus Network. And MikeThomasBrown.com, is that it?
Yes, MikeThomasBrown.com.
Great, man. Thanks a lot for your time.
All right, later.